Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a pretty interesting one for a couple of reasons. We have a Kindred complete guide. Now I haven't yet done the basic guide because Kindred is a pretty complicated champion and we're going to need a lot of time to come up with that one. So you guys can expect it in the future, but not out quite yet. We're just going to be talking about Kindred's complete guide in this particular video, and as such, against our usual convention that we've been having recently, we are actually going to slowly go through the items, the runes, and the spells, seeing as this is a complete guide and it's not like a commentary guide or supplementary guide that before the next patch comes out. And yes, I do know that the next patch is coming out in a few days, but I still want to go through Kindred anyway. Her build is probably going to be pretty similar in the following patch as well. I don't really see this build changing very much. Maybe dropping IE could be possible if since IE is getting reverted to the so-called weaker version of itself. But anyways, let's get into the items. So you first want to start off with attack speed boots. Now with Kindred, getting attack speed is important because you have a 3-hit ability on your third ability, so you want to be able to proc that third ability quickly. You also have press the attack, so you do want to get some attack speed from the boots. It is a lot more useful than the Gluttonous Greaves in this case, so you do get the Berserker's Greaves for the attack speed and a little bit of AD. And then the first item you're going to get is Triforce, and the Triforce is just really useful. It gives you a lot of nice stats. You get the health, a little bit of AD, a little bit of attack speed again, ability haste, and of course you get the Spell Blade passive, which you do use your dash on your Q quite a bit, so this is going to help you proc your Spell Blade more often. Just a really good item in general. And then you're going to go into full crit. So of course BT is pretty much the best crit item. Gives you the gives you the physical vamp as well as giving you the AD and the bonus stats when you're high on health. And then here we get the Magnetic Blaster. So this is yet again another attack speed item, but gives you that bonus range as well as the static shift kind of passive. So just really good in general. And for the last two items, just IE for the extra crit damage and more reminder for the armor pen as well as the grievous wounds. Now I will say that most of the top Kindred players are taking this build where they go for collector here and then IE last item. Now personally, I don't really think it makes a lot of sense. I think that collector as a second last item just really makes no sense. I don't see why you go for it second last item, so I don't like going for that personally. I like going for this like more traditional kind of 4 crit item build at the end. Of course you are getting your Triforce before that because it's a really strong early game item. It just gives you all of the good stats. So for the runes, PTA is going to be your best option. Now, of course, you can take something like Lethal Tempo, and if you do that, you probably want to, not go for attack speed boots and things like that. But overall, PTA is just the best because if you gank or if you run into the enemy jungler, just proccing PTA and using your single target E is going to be able to do a lot of damage to them and is going to be just more successful in general. Conquer also an option, but again, just PTA/empowerment is always going to be the best one. Brutal, since you auto attack a lot as an ADC in the jungle. Giant Slayer, Bloodline, because you don't really need more attack speed than what you already have from your items, and Sudden Impact because you're dashing consistently with your Q, so this will of course give you the additional lethality when you're jumping around, which you will be constantly. And then of course for your spells it's going to be Flash and Smite. Of course to no one's surprise because you are playing jungle. But with all that said, let's move on to talking about the gameplay. Alright, so let's hop into the gameplay itself. Now, first I have to put a little bit of a disclaimer right at the beginning, which is I am no Kindred expert. I think I have like less than 10 matches on Kindred, and I think Kindred is one of the hardest junglers to play, mostly because of two reasons. Now, firstly, it's her mark system. It's a completely unique mechanic to Kindred where you have to go for marks on camps, and you also have to mark enemy champions, which does require a little bit of planning ahead. And of course, number two of why Kindred is hard is because you're playing an ADC in the jungle and you are very squishy. So 1v1 against most junglers, you generally have to, you are very squishy, so you have to kite them out, especially in the earlier stages of the game. When you get to later on, you of course have the damage of a marksman. Of course, your range is pretty short as well compared to other more traditional marksmen. Now here you see one of the small tricks that I'm using, which is when you start your first buff or first camp, you can mark the enemy jungler, which will tell you where the enemy jungler started. So in this case, we know Shen is doing his blue buff. So it means that if we both clear the jungler at relatively equal speed, we are going to end up meeting at the topside skull or topside area. So of course here you can see Shen is actually doing some kind of weird pathing. He took his blue buff and now he's kind of like going to the river. I suppose this is because my bot lane, Caitlyn, Zyra is super duper overextended. They've like pushed all the way in, and Shen actually was looking for like a level 2 gank here. And he actually loses a lot of tempo because while he's doing that, I'm actually clearing the camps, and this actually gives me a tempo advantage. Now here you see I'm kind of doing a little bit of the same thing where I'm trying to rotate to help my Veigar, who did get jumped on by Yasuo, but turns out my help wasn't really needed. Now, unfortunately, my first mark spawns at the bot side skull, and because Shen was so slow in clearing, he is still around this area, and I know this. So here, my bot lane has had priority this whole time. I get spotted by this ward that just dies. Yasuo is rotating because Veigar doesn't quite have priority. Now Shen is here as well. And somehow my bot lane actually loses priority. Like, they were so hard pushing in, and the moment I need them, they don't have priority. And because of that, I end up basically wasting my time walking one full circle around the red side dragon pit, and then having to blow my flash, because if that karma hits, everyone else is going to dogpile on me and I'm going to die. So overall, I wasted time and I wasted my flash, which is not really good at all. Shen also denies the mark, which is pretty unfortunate, which is why I say Kindred's a little bit hard to play. Now, if I was any regular jungler, I wouldn't really care about that skull. I would just go to my blue side and farm. Now, you could argue that on Kindred, you could do that as well, but you really cannot ignore marks when you're on Kindred because you have a lot of power in the marks, makes all your abilities stronger, and gives you extra auto attack range as well, so you really can't ignore the marks. So yeah, that's kind of one of the challenges of playing Kindred, is the mark system. Now I have to say I'm a lot better when it comes to marking people. Like, I generally know who I want to fight and who I want to gank and things like that. So generally I get marks from people, or champions I should say, easier than camps. But camps is a little bit of RNG. There's an element of it. So here I'm just hovering Malphite because he's pretty low, and I'm thinking that, you know, Aatrox might die. Turns out he isn't, so I'm just going to back and hit back to the red side jungle where the camps are going to be respawning real soon. So you might be wondering why I'm playing like Kindred and why I'm even playing jungle when I'm an ADC main. Well, firstly, it's like, you know, ever since Kindred came out, I always wanted to really play Kindred because again, Kindred's basically an ADC, just that she's a jungler. And now it's the end of season. So end of season, you basically only have like two kinds of people: the people who have hit their goal like me and like can basically afford to relax a little bit, or you have people who are just try harding to hit their goal. Now I am try harding in the jungle role, but jungle obviously not my best position, so you could argue that I'm not playing optimally. Here I marked Yasuo already. I'm gonna get the takedown on him to get my mark here, and it's kind of a situation where a lot of enemies are low HP, and here you can see the mark actually spawns on the enemy Gromp. And here I'm trying to get my Veigar to help me out to invade. So I'm pretty low here. I take a little bit Ezreal poke. I need help from my team. So here you can see that if your team helps you with the marks, it's a lot easier, because here you can basically just secure the mark like so, and then we can abscond with it. So one of the main problems with playing Kindred is what you see here. Or rather what you didn't see here, which is if you have your team like helping you secure marks, like mini objectives, like think about your marks as like, instead of like Herald or Dragon, it's just like a mark as like an objective, right? So if your team is there to help you, you can get it a lot more easily. And similarly, the enemy team wants to deny your mark if you're playing against the Kindred. So one of the things that you know, hasn't really been ingrained into Wild Rift culture yet is to help Kindred secure marks or slash deny marks from the enemy Kindred. And if this, you know, actually happened, it would be a lot easier. Now here you can see my mark spawn on the skull, and here Shen is actually going for a gank. So actually I could have cancelled my back and just went for that mark on the skull, which I believe is a mistake I made here. I was actually paying attention to the gank to see if I could cancel my recall and counter gank, and I actually didn't notice the mark pop up. If I did, I actually could have gotten that mark. So now Shen is probably denying my mark at the same time as getting the dragon, since he just made a successful gank in bot. So this means I have to go top to trade Herald, which is fine by me because Herald is generally the better objective. Anyway, at least if you are the jungler, because Herald gives you so much more value. Of course, it's going to change in a couple of days, or might change in a couple of days. So here we get the Herald, and we're just going to plop it mid, obviously just to get the plates. And of course, Veigar likely to share the plates with us as well. And then we can farm our entire blue side jungle. Yeah, so as I said, I have played Kindred for a number of matches, and I do think she's not very easy to play, but I do think that she's very fun to play, especially if you're like me and you're an ADC main playing in the jungle. Definitely Kindred is going to be one of your top choices. She's way more of an ADC than Graves, who attacks like really slow, and is kind of having a unique mechanic as well with the shotgun passive. So yeah. So since I've already met my goal, rank goal in this season, I decided to actually just queue jungle and play, champions like Kindred and Viego that I've always wanted to play, but I never really got a chance to, because obviously I play ADC, and if I'm like real tryharding, I would just play ADC. But of course, playing other roles in ranked is very important to be an all-rounded player as well, in case you get autofilled and things like that. So it's always good to practice other roles as well. So here we complete our Triforce first item power spec by 0, 0, and 1. But if you look at our farm, we do have a decent amount of gold. We're actually 1k gold up on the Shen, who has been, I guess, not farming very well. It appears, because he is 1 and 1, so he does have a kill and 1 death. I only have 1 assist, no deaths, so we should be quite on par, but he looks like he's farming real slowly. Now I popped the sweeper, I'm going into his jungle to kind of check if anything's going on, not quite. Now we are seeing if we can get off a gank in the bottom lane. We do get spotted by this control ward, but even if a ward spots you, it's not really the end of the world. You can see here we're jumping in. Shen Out comes in to save the Karma. So Karma does survive on critical HP. If Shen Out was not there, we would have gotten the kill. But I've marked Ezreal anyway, which is kind of the wrong target to mark, because Ezreal is really hard to kill because of his mobility. And yeah, nothing too much is really happening here. Aatrox coming in for the gank. I pop my press the attack onto him. I'm trying to pop my W onto him, not quite working. Here I pop my ultimate to actually survive, and we actually end up killing the Aatrox. And now Shen is in trouble. I'm actually gonna hop the wall here, smite him down for the kill. One thing you can do on junglers is to use that smite to secure the kill, which I do right there. And now we actually back and just get the health. So now I can see my next mark is on the enemy Raptors. Now this is a little bit of a challenge, because enemy Raptors not very easy to get necessarily. Here I mark the Yasuo to kind of just really get vision on him, and here I'm actually just going for my Gromp. Now I believe here I make another mistake by not just running straight for the Raptors, because if I did that I might actually be able to secure it. Now Yasuo is clearly walking towards the Raptors, and Malphite is now here to help me with the Raptors. So but they see us coming because of the Skull Crab, and basically the Raptors are already gone when I reach here. I basically just get ulted by Yasuo. Malphite ult comes in a little bit too late because I'm in the Yasuo ult animation, so Yasuo essentially already CCs himself. Malphite ult does not interrupt Yasuo ult, which I guess is the interaction I didn't really know. And I end up dying here, which is unfortunate because I didn't even get the mark. So that's a little bit sad. But yeah, so here my team now just trying to, I don't know, get something done, I guess. Top lane tower is a tickle away from dying, and Ezreal actually ends up dying to Caitlyn. Both Veigar and Caitlyn are kind of 1 HP at the moment. And the next mark is at the enemy Gromp, and this is a really difficult mark to take, because if you look at the map state, I have to invade to get that mark obviously, and my team are all in base, so I have no one to invade with, and invading by myself is very risky unless I have vision and information of everyone or most of the people on the enemy team. I do know Yasuo and Aatrox are not there, because Yasuo's been and Aatrox is at top, but I don't have enough information from the rest of the enemy team to really make that invade, calculated invade, right? I don't have enough information for it to be a safe invade. I could just be running into 3 enemies in the enemy jungle. So the next dragon is spawning, which is going to basically pull everybody to this general dragon area, which is also coincidentally near my mark. Surprisingly, Ezreal and Karma don't actually go to deny the mark on the skull. They're actually focusing on securing the dragon area, which is also good. Here Shen tries to go in, but ends up basically whiffing his engage and taking a bunch of damage for his efforts. I take a bunch of damage from Ezreal's ultimate as well. Malphite's coming in with a weird flank. Shen is kind of ulting on the spot there, so I actually do a little bit of free damage onto him. I managed to get the Shen, which is a very important kill, but my mark is on Yasuo. I believe I get the mark there because I did get the takedown even though I died. And Zyra is now the last person standing with still 3 people alive on the enemy team. Aatrox critical HP, Ezreal's pretty low as well, and Karma is relatively healthy. So I believe that they might be doing the dragon, just 2-manning the dragon with the Ezreal and the Karma possibly. But obviously I'm dead, so nothing I can really do about that. So I'm 2, 2, and 3 at the moment. Not really the best KD in the world, not the worst either. Still in a decent spot. Of course, Kindred does have... Actually, honestly, Kindred has a pretty decent early game. And she has obviously a good late game. Mid game, not too good unless you're completely snowballing. But yeah, so obviously as an ADC, you know, you still want to keep up your farm, get to your item power spikes. Of course, every crit item is going to be a major power spike for you, so you always obviously want to get to those as quickly as you can. So here I'm just getting some free damage onto the Shen. I'm actually doing a ton of damage to him, and I actually get him really low, so I actually chase him down, but I actually end up getting baited here. I popped the ulti again, but this time I'm not so lucky as the last time, and I end up not surviving. If I made it to the wall there, I could have tried to flash it and try to run away, but unfortunately I don't quite have the health bar to do that. So this kind of really shows Kindred's weakness, which is basically the fact that Kindred is a squishy ADC, and if you kind of get caught, the only thing that you can do to save yourself is to ult, and even so, you don't always end up living like what you saw there. However, the first ult I had in bot lane was actually a pretty good example of a good ult, because that ult was able to actually save me and then let me pick up a kill onto the Shen. So that's kind of like an ideal ult. And this ult here is kind of those like trash ults where whether you ult or not, you're gonna die. So you might as well just save your ult for a better situation. And unless you can delay the enemy's time by ulting and let your team do something else, which in this case my team wasn't really doing anything important while I was busy dying, so probably just shouldn't have ulted there. Your E does execute damage, so if you're farming camps or even champions, of course you should try to get them as low as possible before you pop the E, which in this case involves me basically using smite first and then popping the E mark later on. Here Karma and Ezreal kind of chasing in onto my Zyra. I'm just hovering to ensure that if they overchase, we are there to punish, but they don't actually end up punishing her, and I don't end up punishing them as a result. So yeah, here I'm trying to actually cut off Ezreal's escape, but Karma is here and I get exhausted, so unfortunately I don't actually really do very significant damage. I also tanked a couple of Ezreal Qs, which is chunking me out, but with the help of my Bloodthirster, I am kind of healing up just a little bit. Now the enemy team is actually doing Baron, which is kind of wild. Malphite actually spots it out and goes in on them. Now I'm here to try to follow up. Yasuo throws the tornado, I get hit by it, but he doesn't actually ult because he's really low in dire straits. Now unfortunately Malphite takes the entire bit of fruit here and recalls immediately after, so I guess I'm going to have to lifesteal off on my jungle camp instead, which as you guys can see with Bloodthirster and Smite we can do relatively successfully, because we're basically like nearly full health here. Veigar here is getting caught, does pop the stasis at 1 HP, but there's really not much I can do to help him out here. I can't 1v3 while he's in stasis, so he's gonna die regardless, and yeah, I'm just going to basically walk away and back, and I'm 2-3-3, not really the best KD in the world, but of course when you're playing an ADC that scales well into the late game, you always kind of have a chance to come back if you know you get a few good fights that go your way in the later stages of the game. Now here my Malphite is running straight at the enemy team. He is getting out in like 2 seconds, which he just got right now, so I did see the plan there. Now here Yasuo is pretty overextended, so we are trying to get the punish on him. Malphite goes in way too early because no one is really there to follow up. Yeah, Yasuo pops the wind wall, I flash forward, trying to finish off the kill. He goes in with the ulti onto me, and Malphite finishes the kill, which gives me the mark. And now I'm just going to clear up this wave. Malphite wants to take the blue buff, so I'm going to have to go over and help him to secure the blue buff so that he can get the buff share. Honestly, it should be Veigar taking the blue buff, or Zyra for that matter, not the Malphite. Malphite actually walks off from the blue buff to let Zyra take it. Here we're getting good damage off onto Karma, but we don't want to chase in too deep because we don't know who's behind her as usual. Obviously remember that Kindred has really low range, so you really don't want to chase people too far in because of your low range. You want to always, you know, not get baited and things like that. So here we can see Shen basically getting information on us. We're just trying to get the red buff before the dragon spawns, but my team is busy fighting. Ezreal is chasing all the way in for the 1 HP Zyra and ends up getting punished for it by dying. Now we have kind of an awkward fight here. Instead of at the dragon area, Zyra is now backing because she's obviously 1 HP. Yasuo goes in, gets exhausted. Aatrox is going in as well, and here I'm basically just doing ADC things, just hitting whoever I can and just kiting out. I'm kiting away from the Aatrox, so he's kind of the biggest problem at the moment. I finish off 2 kills onto the Shen and the Yasuo. Now I'm kiting Aatrox out. Aatrox is able to get on top of me, so I pop my ult. It is going to heal the both of us, so I am going to have to hop away, kite him out, and pick up the triple kill. So now here we have 3 options actually: Dragon, Baron, and Push. So here I can solo the dragon. Zyra actually comes to help me, but I can solo the dragon if I need to, so I'm choosing the option of denying the enemy team the Infernal Soul. If we wanted to do Baron, we all would have to coordinate and go for Baron together, and pushing is probably the worst option because mid lane inhib, not very valuable even if we get it, and looks like we can't actually get it anyway. So now, my team actually wants to go for Baron, which I think is a tad risky because the whole enemy team is kind of respawning. If Shen has ult, which you can see on the replay that he doesn't, but in the game I assume that he had it. If he had it, he could just ult whoever is here, which in this case is the Ezreal, and this would be very risky. Here I don't even have Smite because I already used it on the Dragon, so Malphite goes in very, very good timing by Malphite to go in when the Baron is low to prevent anyone from stealing because of the CC. Now Shen and Karma all are trying to go in. I dodged the Ezreal ult with my dash, and I'm trying to run people down basically. Yeah, here Shen takes a lot of damage, ends up going down. Aatrox gets his Edge of Night popped and is now, you know, running away. I'm going to recall to complete items. I actually complete my not my IE but my IE components, and then I'm going to rotate to probably join my team. My team is kind of overextended by quite a bit and a little bit busy dying here, so I'm trying to make it there as quickly as I can, as is Zyra. And here they are probably overchasing by a tad. Here I go in onto the so he goes down and Aatrox gets chased down as well, and I actually end up going unstoppable, now 7-3. Veigar is pushing in with the huge minion wave, and I'm just hovering to ensure that you know, he's safe. Of course I can be spotted a bit from the vision of the enemy base. Veigar runs away. I'm trying to get this tower, but a little bit too greedy for me, I guess, because entire enemy team comes over. I'm kiting out the Shen taking a bunch of damage. Veigar finishes off the kill. Karma's ult does a little bit of damage to me, but I'm pretty much fine. I'm going to deny enemy jungle camps, the enemy blue and the Gromp as well. Of course, in this case, we can let Veigar take the blue buff. And now we're actually going for that mark, which has been there for quite some time already. Zyra going for that raptor. We'll let her have it, and we're gonna go secure this mark. Actually out of vision there, so we didn't actually manage to attack. It was just a little bit awkward. And here the Elder Dragon is spawning, so we're actually on the wrong side of the map here. We want to quickly reset and get back to where we need to be. So here we complete our IE at last, and we actually get QSS as well. And now we're running straight for the Elder Dragon, where of course it's very likely that we're going to have a fight, because obviously everyone fights for Elder. Shen just respawned and he has his ult up, so he's likely to ult one of his teammates to join the fight if he can't make it here. He's actually just walking manually. I actually marked him to check where he is. So we know he's kind of there. Ezreal's on the completely wrong side of the map, which is why I basically start the Elder Dragon right away. Aatrox is pushing mid and Ezreal is pushing top. So this is a golden opportunity to secure the dragon. But my team actually starts fighting, which I think we should just be focusing the Elder and not fighting. But anyways, yeah, Shen tries to ult Yasuo. Yasuo dies anyway. I'm taking a bunch of damage, but overall it's fine. I actually used my smite there on the Aatrox, and my smite actually was on cooldown, but we end up securing the Elder. 3 people on the enemy team go down, and only Shen and Karma are alive. Now with that, we should be able to end the game here. We have everyone alive, albeit a little bit low, but only Shen and Karma to defend, which is not a lot of damage considering Karma is building a little bit of a tankier build. So here we're just going to focus the base and get the win. I'm just targeting them for fun. I have my ult, so I know I'm not going to die. I believe we get one last kill at the end on Karma, and with that I'm going to leave you guys with the stats. Hopefully you guys enjoyed a little bit something different today. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.